Hey, what's up everybody? Michael D'Angelo with Silence Media. So what I'm about to show you and do is based upon my opinion and the opinions of Silence Media. Now, I've done 2 of these videos already and I'm getting a bit sore from doing it. So just please bear with me. Everybody, this is a TENS machine. Most people who have done physiotherapy in some way, shape or form will know what this machine does. This is the modern version of what is known as ECT. The difference between this and the old school is, one, the voltage, and I'll show you that too, just for those people who haven't seen what this is. There's your voltage, a 9-volt battery, 9 volts compared to 24 to 48 volts run through an enhancer, which would bring it up to 2400 or 4800 volts. And if you see the picture on the start of the YouTube or on the Facebook, you'll understand that was running, the current was running through that plugged in. Now I can't show you on my testicles and I can't show you on my temples because that would fuck me over. Should I show you on? No. No, the last time I tried that on my temples I was out for a couple of days. But I can show you on this old chest. Forgive me people, I'm not built like a brick shithouse anymore, so I've created a bit of flab. I could blame old age, but that doesn't really work. I'm just not as fit as I used to be. Don't get me wrong. I still want to go toe to toe with Matthew Tumaki. Right, that's the pulse that's going through. Watch. Turn it up. I'll do it so you can see it. Gotta make sure it's on full. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So imagine that pulsating on your head. Wait for it. Yeah, that's about it. But also imagine that pulsating on your testicles. Now the problem with me doing this is that while I'm doing this, I actually remember a lot of things, and I go into like a status of rage. It helps me to handle everything. Now if you tense up like this, so it looks in, but you could build your muscles doing this, but you need to tense. If you relax, it actually sends a pulse to relax your muscle tissue, and therefore burns fat. But if you use it on your nerves, you can bring your nerves that are out of whack into alignment. And that's what I use this machine on my back for, on my shoulders. I had a motorbike accident a while back that took me out of ever riding again. And some of the nerve damage that I created, well, that I had, I used this machine to help bring my nerves back into alignment. Now, using a machine like this at full voltage on an equal power, so in other words, where this tab would be on my back facing inwards, would give me a heart attack and kill me, because it's just a straight pulse going backwards and forwards. This way, the pulse is spread out, but there is no connection between here and here. And it's not circulated in a full motion. Whereas if it was two electricity bolts coming out, whatever's in the middle gets fucked, gets fried. Now the reason I brought up Matthew Tumaki was because Matthew Tumaki said some pretty stupid fucking things. To Matthew Tumaki, you said that you wished survivors of Lake Ellis Hospital were put back in Lake Ellis and tortured more. Punished more, you said. I was born there. What the fuck was I getting punished for, arsehole? Who are you, an expert? No, you don't even have medical clearance in any way, shape or form to talk of torture. In any way, shape or form. No, you're just a dirty politician. A big mouth who needs a good punch in the head. And I will happily oblige anytime you want. Or maybe you should be stripped down, dragged by your hair down a corridor, beaten by nurses, thrown into a chair, strapped to a chair, and have tabs like this put on your testicles and turned up full ball. Maybe that punishment might shut your fat fucking mouth, dick. But I highly doubt it. It didn't shut mine. But then again, I grew accustomed to having electricity through my body. A lot of people couldn't handle it. Many committed suicide. Many never made it out of the Lake Ellis Hospital. What do you say to them? And let's not get all moldified here, people. Because when you speak of the dead that were tortured by adults, there ain't no culture in the world that would happily admit doing such a fucking heinous thing. It's quite weird though. A certain two doctors, Leaks and Sutras, get away with it because they're too unfit or they're too old to stand trial. They're too old to stand trial. Leaks is dead. There's another doctor, Dr. Siri Wamadina. He was the torturist for Villa 14 and the farmhouse, the first villa ever created in Lake Ellis Hospital, the first to be torn down. To date, the New Zealand government on both sides deny the farmhouse even existed. That's why I scratch my head, because that's where I was born. But then you have these dickheads like Matthew Tumaki, who's got a big mouth and thinks they're fucking experts. Were you in Lake Ellis Hospital? No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Do you know the difference between a ward and a villa? No, you didn't. Did you? Do you understand what a punch in the head is compared to torture, abuse? Huh? A punch in the head is a lesson, dude. I've been on a minor setting for a while and I thought, let's go up. I've got on equal alignment, which is just pulsating. But this actually goes, and that's some serious shit, because it gives the same voltage straight after another. It's like, fuck. On this setting, I'm good. Well, a little bit out, but on the maximum setting I did on the last video, I was like this. Now, a lot of the sportsters used to use this sort of thing to tone their fat. But every which one of them would have told you never touch your head with it, because your head is round, and inside your head, it didn't matter where you put it. If you put it either side, if you put it side to side, then sweet ass, not a problem, you could do that. But if you put it here and here, remember what I said, two currents would come together and explode in the middle. That's what ECT does. They still use it today, but very, very low. Lower than this. A lot lower than this. But as you can see, it's still pulsating my body. And what you don't feel is there's a little sting. But that sting is not pulsating, it's just pure constant. And all this does is make me angry. And that's all it ever did, was build my rage. Now why would they do this? Well, I'll tell you something. And it wasn't until I was about 25, 26 that I realized, when I was studying ECT, and why people would do such a fucking thing. But when I was about 25, 26, I was studying at Open Polytechnic in Wanganui, and tap, before they even started, they would take my blood. And they'd write on before. Middle of ECT. And then down on my inner thighs. Not just my testicles, but on my inner thighs. Because they couldn't do it to my testicles all the time. Only when certain doctors were there were they allowed to do it on the testicles. So what they would do is they would do it on the inner thighs when the doctors weren't there. And they would run these pulse, and it would just fuck me over. It was so much excruciating pain. But they would, in the middle of doing such, take my blood again. In the middle of the session. And then after the session, they would take my blood again. And I was reading up about the MK Ultra, how they would test the blood of those who received ECT. And Lake Alice Hospital was doing it way before the United States would. I found through files that not only was Lake Alice Hospital doing it way before MK Ultra, but a lot of the MK Ultra files actually came from New Zealand, Lake Alice Hospital. Lake Alice Hospital. As you can see, this is still constantly. And what you don't realize is the pain of pulsating electricity running through my body. Let's turn it up. Now, I used to be able to do the whole thing, but I've done it 3 times tonight, and 3 times is the maximum on this setting anyway, and I'm not going to push it. It's just stupid. But although, if Matthew Tumaki wants to come and sit down, I'm happy to give him the full setting, because he's an expert, so he can handle it, right? stick it on his temples. Just his temples alone. I won't bother with his testicles. They're probably too small to do it on anyway. But just his temples. I mean, you know, he's got a big mouth and he needs to be punished, right? I mean, that's what he said. He said these children needed to be punished. Yet the United Nations calls it torture. The United Nations, you know, Labour's go-to. So Labour's go-to calls it torture, but Labour does not. But then again, Judith Collins, she's been in this sort of position before, and she denied it then. Amos Collins, when you were the police minister. Fucking bitch. Politicians, pathetic little wimps. They are the little weasels, the weasels of society. The biggest pussies around. I guarantee you, Matthew Tumaki would scream like a bitch with it being the way it is now on him. I know bodybuilders that don't take this kind of voltage, and it's only 9 volts, but it's constant. Now, don't get me wrong, people. Yes, I'm feeling the pain. I am. But, as I said, third time, that's it. I can't do it again. Any more than that, and I would be self-harming. So I'm not going to do that for anybody. But as you can see, I'm starting to pulse all over. That's why I'm keeping my hands down so you don't see me. It's best to stay kind of calm when you've got them both on either side of your chest, because your heart is just below you, and it shows the tab. Well, what it doesn't show is the mass that it's actually hitting. So it's going just below my chest, as well as getting right up to the top of my shoulder blade, or my collarbone. Now imagine that on your testicles, Matthew Tumaki. And you say it's for punishment. You're a sick fucker, aren't you? You're a very sick fucker. Maybe you and I should get together and we have electricity competition. I mean, you don't have to be strapped into a chair. No, we can just knock you out and put you in the fucking chair. We could, if you give us permission, of course. I'm not advocating violence, anybody. I'm just saying, here's a man who turning around and saying that he's a full-grown man, by the way. A real sick fucker, eh? A full-grown man that turned around and said that the torture that the children received was punishment. Punishment for what? What in the world could this be punishment for? Exactly what in the world could this be punishment for? Matthew Tumaki, you experted motherfucker. Huh? Now I'm an expert, yes, people, on torture. Yes, people. Human torture. I'm an expert. I'm qualified to speak on the matter. Yet, I ask Matthew Tumaki, where do you get your expertise? Huh? You don't, do you? Because you're not an expert on anything, are you? You're just a loudmouth politician that if you was even just thrown in a chair, you'd scream. Huh? Ooh, I like that position. It is what it is, people. Unfortunately, as you can see, that yellow light is the pulse that I'm receiving. So that's exactly the pulse that I'm receiving. Just so you know that there was no... Because this is the third one, I have to do it this way rather than before when I could just rip them off. But I won't be able to do another video, so I wanted to show you guys just exactly what ECT done down below and on our temples to a child. So you understood that I've got these tabs on that have got like a gel substance, and they stick to my skin, but the ones that I had around over here were actually would go to a bigger unit, and then the wire would run down the back. No, I did it in the last video, but as I said, I had to delete that video because either my dog gets in the way or my brother was coming in. So, and when doing a video like this, you've got to be very careful too, because on this video I'll put a warning up. But if my brother had his friends over or something like that, I couldn't do the video just because they're all lefties. Oh God. Oh yeah, the mark that I was talking about is underneath here. myself and 11 have panther tattoos, but both of us, underneath the panther tattoos, we have a mark that we put in while we were in there, and we weren't meant to do that, apparently. I won't say how we did it, because that was just... But we did it in rebellion, because we knew what was happening was wrong, even though we were taught that everything was good, and that was a part of our lifestyle of how we were growing up. This is what happened to us, which we thought was normal. It wasn't until we left the lake that we realized anything but normal. You know, when I was 13, fuck, I gotta remember that lake I lived at. I would go swimming in the lake, and the foster father hated it, because I'd come home from wherever, and instead of walking right around the lake like he told me to, I'd swim straight across it. I was never taught how to swim. I taught myself. I liked the water, I looked at it, and I thought, great. I jumped in, walked in. Got to a point where it started getting deeper and deeper, and I was thinking, okay. And I saw a piece of wood floating, and I was like, well, maybe I can float too. It took me a while to figure it out, but I could float. Now, I hadn't seen TV, I hadn't seen anything else. I went under and I started swimming. I came up for air and I went under and I kept on swimming. That was the one thing. I didn't see TV until I was like 13, 14. They had this big box of, big black box in the day room, but I never saw it. It was never on when I was in there. And I could only go to the day room if we had been a good boy. In other words, if we were still awake, or if we hadn't pissed off the nurses, which was very rare for me because I seem to piss everybody off very quickly. It seems I still piss people off very quickly. Many freedom groups. The government just censor me. Everybody else just fucking hate me. Anyway, people, I'm Michael D'Angelo with Silence Media. That's tonight's experiment, you could say. And I can't do it again for another 12 hours because, you know, no man should have that sort of current flowing through their body. It is what it is. I'm Michael D'Angelo with Silence Media. Stay safe, be righteous, be well, be free. Peace.